So this is the Holy Sefer, the Zohar. And I can remember I had a chavrusa, well, it's a Marcha Shmalo that I learned with this. And he come from people, or he was a person, had just tremendous admiration for the Zohar. Not just him, but other SYs that I met. There was this guy named Jack Cohen is real close with it. Well, I just want to learn the Zohar. But I'm being Ashkenaz, so everybody that I'm around is a Talmudist. And there clashed there between that. But somehow I wound up on the Zohar side. That's what I seek. I hear that the Gaon is saying that this will bring the Mashiach. So I want to encourage everybody to pick up the Zohar. The Matok Midvash is a good device. I see that I met a man, an Israeli, because in Israel, the Sulam, which is also uses a lot of the same, it uses the material of the of the Ari. They know a lot of Kabbalah also. Whatever way allows you to go forward to get closer and closer to Hashem. So let's take a look at this. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to read just this little part here. Then he has an introduction. It says like this: Hashem al Moshe Bamidbar Sideh Ba'olam Moed. So he spoke to Moshe. Rabbi Abba Pasach V'Yivra Elokim Isa'ana B'Tzalmo. So he says, and Hashem was V'Yivra Elokim. Elokim is Lashon Din. Isa'ana B'Tzalmo, a man in his image. But this pasuk had been stated of it. He said, "B'shanta de barakutri b'richu la'adam," when Hashem created man. Avad le b'diyuk d'iloi v'satoi. He made for first man an image. He had an image of what was from the upper world. I don't know what a diyuk is. His image, I guess, when it says the way his physical form appeared, that it had parts of the upper worlds, the worlds that are non-physical, and the worlds that are physical, but the toy. V'hava kola mikula, he was a combination of all of them. And his light would shine from one end of the earth to the other. And everyone frightened of him. I don't think it's a bad idea, so let's see what's going on in the world. He says, Hinei lachavin maimer habad. So I really look for these little blurblach here that he brings the Ari, because a lot of times he tells me something I didn't know before. He says, Hinei lachavin maimer habad nakdim bekitzer masha kosev Arizal belakuti Torah parshas ki sisa. He says this, Hatam sharak bebrias Adam, only by the brias Adam. That he says, and let us make Adam Beloshin Rabim. So why is it let us make it? What's the plural? Who's he including? There's only one God. V'lo b'shar kol nivroim. He doesn't say this though by anything else that was created. Ki ratza kodesh baruch Adam yaseh b'kol olamos, because he wants the man, human being, to be able to reach all of the olamos. And this is where you start to see that in Sod, that when he says the word holomos, it also is referring to the word helam, which means hidden. So holomos are really all of the hidden worlds. Biakasha es kulam, and he has to tie them all together. So therefore, he's talking about the olamos of Etzilus, the letters with the light behind them, Bria, more formation and more creation of something more solid and physical than Yetzirah, which in some ways are related to waves and music and all these different kinds of things which are beyond our ability to be able to see them. But they have an ability to be able to immediately manifest down below. It's actually the Zer Anpin of the Olamos. Zohaina Olam Rasiya Nasin Bo Nefesh. Because he says like this, in the Olam Asiya there is a concept, a spiritual concept called a Nefesh. Vahayitzira is Ruach. Ruach is breath. Could be lots more too. its direction, its kavana, it's the wind, it's so much. V'chababriya, it represents the neshama, which is actually the chelik of the Ein Sof Baruch Hu, which actually enters inside of a person. V'chein also no partsuf v'chatzilul mechelkam, so also the partsufim of the tzilus, which are just the beginning of where we can recognize formation. He says, nefesh min malchus ruach mezer anped. His nefesh comes from malchus. Ruach is from zer anped. The shama comes from ima. Chaya comes from abba. V'lechein amena asa b'loshen rabim. And that's the reason why. He says, let's take the Kodesh Baruch Hu saw that it would take from different aspects of these four worlds. It's because of partsufim, and he counseled and he discussed what to say. He took the essence of all the partsufim. So that all of them would want to be a part of this new man. And so therefore now we look at it like this. If the man is hidden, is sinned, and if you read this over enough, you're talking about the main sin that people do is what you might call the taivas niyuf, that is desire to mate with someone else's wife. Just mate, sex. So therefore, if a man sins, he will make a pagam, a legion, a cut, and all of them will seek for him rachamim, have mercy upon him, so we can heal. So if the man actually merits to come back in tshuva, Yagida v'yispecha kulam, then all of them will rejoice and they'll celebrate and be happy, all of them together at the same time. Now that's a process of like what I call breathing, well, it's a metaphor, let's say, breathing in and out. You bring in, you do something selfish, that you realize that it was the wrong thing to do and that you hurt many around you. You do tshuva. You breathe out. You go back and speak to all of those alamos, so to speak, and have them come back together again. What could do that? We saw this previously. The Ein Sof Baruch Hu has that power. So let's look at the Zohar, and with the translation of the Matok Midvash, and the Zohar says like this: "V'yedaber Hashem and Moshe Bamidbar Sinai, ve'echad the on the first day of the second month." Today the Farish pasuk there, Rebbe Alzer hikdim the Farish Masher Kasa, so he came and wanted to say this. He said, "B'tzelem Elokim b'bar also." And the tzelem Elokim was he created. Now, we know from the Rashbi, from the Rav, that the word tzelem is not just the word, image. It's a tzadi tzelem, a lama tzelem, and a mem tzelem. That the man was actually created out of light, and we were created out of different aspects of the light. The light of the Ein Sof, what could go in to the man, but the other lights, which is called the tzadi tzelem, but the other lights, which are called the lam and the mem, the word tzelem, are too strong. In other words, there's too much nothing in them to be able to support the man, so therefore they shine on him from the outside. The lamed is closer and the mem is far away. Each one of them has a corresponding or that goes with it. Let's go on. Zohar v'dekeva barosam, he made them male and female. Hi Kra Itma, this pasuk has been talked about before. Let's skip. Tal Chazi b'shata the barakudre berichu la'adam, when he created man Rishon, Shuhu Yehi Tachlis Abriya, because ultimately, and tell these to the anti-Semites, that the world was created for the purpose of man. Yehi Tachlis Abriya, Vakasher as called Olamos, and what is it? What does the man need to do? He has the ability to be able to bring all of the Olamos together, the Lachase Gosam, and to reach them. Aved le b'diyuk l'di'iloi v'satoi, So they made it in the image of the upper world and the lower world. That all of the different partsufim of Atzilus, that the aspect of the God, of the ultimate Ein Sof, that is created by, that is inside of Olam Atzilus, for example, that some portion of that will be going into Zer Anpin and Neshamas Mechalkam, and they want their portion represented. Also the form of the lower world. Also give, you see like this, we all have, let's say, Milos and Chesronos. We all have talents. Maybe they don't make us money, maybe they do. And we all have things that are not so great about us. We're always bothered. Well, the one thing is going back to Taivas Niyuf. We get involved in things we never should get involved in, and eat things we never should eat, and going and going and going and going and going and going. But the man is comprised of all of these different things. Shall call all lamos. Shehem Shishim Rabo. He says all of the Rabo. There are 600,000 neshamas sharshios, root neshamas. Shall klal Yisrael, for the whole Jewish people, which represents Malchus. Shehoya kolulimbo. They were all incorporated in this man. One man had 600,000 aspects in his root, or he was enrooted in this man with 600,000 aspects. So he said, "Meir misofa olam ad sofa olam." Because he is the channel, he's the straw that pulls down the shefa, the bracha that's coming from the Ein Sof. That is the essence of the Ein Sof, from all the world, from the very beginning. We were talking in a shir that we had earlier today on the Achap, the Ozen Chotem Peh of Adam Kadmon. That's a location. Do we understand what's going on in that location? Not much to see. Just a label. The fish who hoya kolam makulam, because he had all of them in him. Then all of the different, let's see, everything created is afraid of man. The rabbi says, even ministering angels, Bikshu Loma, the fond of Kadosh, they all want to say before him that he is Kadosh, because he has all of these aspects of Kedusha within him. He Shalom B'Tzelem Elohim al Panav, that you could see that the Tzelem of Elohim, once again we said that Tzadeh is an aspect of light, and so is the Lamed and the Mem. All of these lights, the Tzadeh is within inside of him, and the Lamed and the Men shine on him. So let's see what else we have to say. The Zohar goes on. Ba'afal gav deho ukmuhu, that we've already explained this. Ba'afal fisher gavar bi'arda hachaverim posuk zeh. Im kol zecha be'is istaklech be'epachai kra. Yesh od istakol v'la'ayin b'makom b'zeh. Let's look at it. So let's try to move on this. He says, Derchsev v'yivra Elohim es ha'adam b'tzalmo. Then it said, b'tzalam Elohim barota. So once it says in his image, and we just went through the concept of the tzalam, all the different lights that are represented. My B'Tzelem Elokim, what does it mean by the phrase B'Tzelem Elokim? Bara Oso created him. Lama Kofel Od V'Ama B'Tzelem Elokim. So why do you want to double that line and say B'Tzelem Elokim? Meshiv Elavadai Trin Dargan Klilin the Kandakar Vanok. Now, we're learning this every day when we're looking at the Rishash. He says that Elavadai B'Tzalmo, this phrase B'Tzalmo in its image, B'Tzelem Elokim, and then the phrase B'Tzelem Elokim, Heishtei Madregos. They represent two specific Madregos in terms of where the flow is going. Madregos are Kolola Zochav and Nukva, even Nekeva. So he says that what it means is that these are places that include male and female at the same time. Shehu sod the tzelem, I lost it, v'nukva, also, chad zohar, one is for the male side. Masher kasa v'yirva Elohim es adam b'tzalmo, that phrase b'tzalmo has a vav at the end. Shehu notrikon b'tzalim vav, you could also say the tzalim of the vav represents Shehu sod tzalim vav l'zohar. So vav is zeranpin is the male force, is a male force. V'chad the nukva, and one for the female. Masha kasa b'tzalim Elohim b'bara also, so what it writes over here, b'tzalim Elohim, he created them. Hainu tzalim the nekeva. He made a separate tzalim for the nekeva. Shehi sod hamalchus hanikbas Elohim. Now what exactly did he say? He says actually there's two tzlamim. There's the tzalim of the male and the tzalim of the female. Now we're learning in the earlier shirim when we're looking at the Parashat. I mean, it really spells it out. There's a right side of the right side and a left side of the right side. There's a left side of the left side and a right side of the left side. Everything splits like that, male and female. Everything is like that. Now he writes, again, kach lefi shehem shtei madragos, since they're two separate things. When we talk about the zun of Atzilus, and I look at the Atzilus as the place where the letters contain specific lights within and they form the light. The letters form the light into specifics. That's what's happening in Atzilus, I think. Ukenegdam Adam v'Chava Lamad. So corresponding to Zohar v'Nuk, you also have in our world male and female, man and woman. Du partsufi havivadai. They were two different partsufim altogether. Shnei partsufim hoya nivro. Now here the word partsuf really means parts of panim, like that. They look different. She was on his back. He was in the front. Not the same size. The Sefer the Kra Okach, now the end of this pasuk, it proves this. B'sofa pasuk mokiach al zedech sebzoch v'nekeva baruch. So now let's go on. V'amar od b'kolil chava mitrin sitrin. Adam hoya kolol mishtei tzadadim. Shoya kolol gam ke bechinas in the keva. Even though that the nekeva choisa ne'achazes b'tzilu shel adam, that she was holding on to his side. Now he says that side is actually her back. His back, that is. So since she's by herself on his back and he's in the front, maybe they don't need each other. Haki name kolila mitrin citrin. But wait, she also has two sides. Hoyagam he ba'atzma choisa kolula b'shnei tzadadim. He choisa kolula gam b'bechinas zohar, because she had a male side to her as well. Lemeheve shlim b'kula, that she would be like complete on all of it. They the hiyos shalom b'kolo b'chinos, so she could be together with all the different aspects. That is that the power, the potential, or I don't know what koach means. It means power. Power of the male is inside of the female, and final power of the female is inside of the male. Now, this is introduction to theory. The man himself is, word Adam is a gematria 45. Shema, which is Yud Vav Dalet K Aleph Vav Aleph Vav K Aleph. It's called the Miloi of Alafim, comes to 45. That's the Moach it represents. V'kolabo haben dema. So he's a madama. You have a madama, a madama, and a ben dema. So there's a female. So it's always like that. V'chava he bebechin shem ben v'kolabo hamad ben. So she's the name Ben. And we see this in other places, and to understand this, you really need to know a little bit of Re. And so we see that the two of them, no matter how you look at it, they're always combining together.